How to avoid cash flow problems. We saved a builder from bankruptcy and had a 6 months heads up. I'm about to tell you how. 80% of business failures are actually a cash flow problem, and most are avoidable. By the end of this video, you're going to know the 5-step avoid system to avert a cash flow crisis. We had a guy we were talking to who's a prospect, potentially could become a client of ours, and there was something he said that I wrote down. I thought it was really powerful. He said, "I've been surprised by cash flow problems 3 times this year." And he said each time it's completely stressed me out. I got to thinking, we were talking back and forth. I said, I get being surprised once, but is the second time a surprise, or is it more of a predictable frustration at that point? And so we went back and forth and realized that he had worked himself into a position where it was sort of Groundhog Day every single month or quarter or cycle around this issue of cash flow problems, and he was singing from the same sheet of music instead of getting rid of that tune and starting to sing another song. Aren't you tired of being in reaction mode? Don't you want to have something that you can look out ahead and go, okay, I see that coming, and I'm going to make a different choice? A lot of times when we're working with the clients, what we're doing is not just trying to solve the problem in the moment. We're trying to look out way ahead to see what problems are on the horizon so that we can build systems around that. And so that's what I'm going to walk you through, is an avoid-based system to avoid those cash flow problems and put you in the driver's seat to steer your way out of that. So I want to walk through the acronym that I think would be really, really helpful for you. The first step of avoiding cash flow problems is to actually automate your receivables and your payables. Too many of us take this for granted and we think the money's just going to kind of keep coming. But the reality is we've got incredible technological advances right now on receiving payment that we don't have to go out and wait on paper checks. We don't have to drive by somebody's house or their business to go pick up a check. I'm amazed at the number of realtors, at the number of builders, at the number of subcontractors who are still going, hey, I got to go pick up a check, Man, we got to put this stuff on ACH and credit card. We got to do some variant of auto pay in order to make this receivable come quicker, because when you have the money that your customer owes you, you have better options. And we need to make our payables actually not necessarily go quicker, but go on a rhythm. Why? Because when payables back up, we end up having to go borrow money to make that payment on that payable that just grew too big over time. So we need to have predictability around payables, and we need to have speed around receivables. Once we've automated that, then what we need to do is begin to view a 13-week timeline. So we need to constantly stay in a position where we're viewing 13 weeks ahead of what's coming. And so we're looking at our cash accounts to see what cash we actually have access to. We're looking at the receivables that are owed to us. We're looking at the payables that we're going to owe. And so on a regular drip, we're starting to look at these things. Now, it only works if you rage over your money. What do I mean? Know your revenue, know your associated cost of goods sold. So that's a very important number to understand. And if you take your revenue minus your cost of goods, then you get your gross margin. And from there, we can decide on what the expenditures are for the business, to be able to lever the business to run it to a place of profitability. So what a 13-week forecast does is it allows us to see what's coming. So we're not caught off guard day to day or even week to week. And so every single week, we're looking out 13 weeks ahead. 13 weeks ahead to see what do we have coming in the pipeline? What are the receivables coming to us that people owe us? And what are the payables that are going out that we owe to other people? Once we've got that set up, then what we're going to do is we're going to organize subdivided bank accounts. Most businesses operate from 1, 2, or 3 bank accounts. And what it's doing is it's creating a ripe, fertile soil for cash flow problems. What do you mean? Isn't that clarity, going from 1, 2, or 3 bank accounts? No. Because when all the money comes in here, you don't know what money goes to what. Does that money go to labor? Does that money go to new equipment? Does it go to taxes? Does it go to profit? Does it go to operating expense? Where does that money go when it comes into this bucket? But when we subdivide our bank accounts, and we've got 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 different bank accounts, and we've got an account for profit, an account for operating expense, for tax, for capital expense, for cost of goods, then when the receivables come in, we cut it up. We literally cut the dollars up and put them into separate bank accounts, not on a spreadsheet. This is a psychological game, and by putting it on a spreadsheet, it's not real to your mind. When all the money goes in 1, 2, or 3 bank accounts, your mind thinks that's all your money, and it is not. And so we've got to start taking radical action, cutting these dollars up and putting them into individual homes so that we can organize these subdivided bank accounts. So now when you have this weekly 13-week rolling forecast, we can look at those bank accounts in contrast to what we're owed and what we owe. Now, to go hand in hand with the 13-week lookout is individually we're going to inspect that dashboard. And so when we have that dashboard here, what are some key elements of that dashboard? Well, on the dashboard, we're going to have our weekly cash account balance of every balance of every bank account that we have. We're going to have our weekly update on accounts receivable and accounts payable. And then we're also going to have an update on this slim pants methodology. What do I mean by that? So we're going to create a tracking system around our business to take a look at these major drivers which directly affect your cash flow. What do I mean by that? Your schedule directly affects your cash flow. Your labor cost affects your cash flow. Your inventory and your mistakes, callbacks, or warranty. All four of those, my guess is, statistically in your business are not being tracked. Or if they are, they're not being inspected on a dashboard every single week on a rolling 13 weeks. And so once we know these, then we need to put in the secondary framework of understanding our pricing. What's your method for updating your pricing and understanding profitability based on price? And then once we've got that, we make sure that we're good on our terms for accounts receivable and accounts payable by automating them. And then we look at this new equipment reinvestment. This is our capital reinvestment. As we move in the business, we need to be upgrading on a regular basis what that looks like. We need to be setting aside money for our taxes. That's impact on cash flow, especially at the end of the year. And then also on servicing debt. If you have debt in the business, what is the plan to service? And I would argue, eliminate that debt. You don't have to have debt to run a profitable business. I don't care what the MBAs say. I don't care what the CPAs say. You don't have to have debt to be profitable in business. I can show you a laundry list of businesses that are profitable that do not take debt. And part of that is dictating your terms. In dictating tight terms, you are the person in charge of the terms of the money that you receive that come from your accounts receivable. So is it 1 day, 7 days, 30 days, 15 days? You decide one on that. Get creative. You can say, hey, we have 30-day payments, but if you pay within 7, you get a 2% rebate. Start thinking creatively so that you can start to generate better terms so this money comes in quicker as you're forecasting it, so you have a better chance of keeping your revenue in front of your expenses instead of the payables going out before the revenue comes in. That's why we're tracking all of this. So you look around and you can see people in your industry that they might be failing on cash flow. You might be feeling the pinch on cash flow, but you don't have to do that. I've given you a way to avoid it in these 5 elements, but I'm also going to give you a way to steer yourself out of it. So let's summarize this. Number 1, we want to subdivide our bank accounts. Number 2, we want to track our A, B, C's. That's our accounts, subdivided bank accounts, our bookkeeping, accounts receivable, accounts payable, and our customer metrics, however you track that. If it's one-on-one meetings or hits to the website or Facebook ad traffic or whatever that is, you want to track those core metrics that are there. And then the third element of this is you want to review every single week, to come down here and inspect that dashboard on a rolling 13 weeks. So that's a summary of how you steer your way out of this, is through subdivided bank accounts, a tracking dashboard, and reviewing those things every week. And when you start to do that, you're going to have radical clarity through what we call the RPMs of great leadership: repetition, predictability, and meaning. I want to give you a next step, all right? So you don't just turn off this video and just go away or whatever. I want you to go down, click on the link in the description below, and go to solvecashflow.com, solvecashflow.com. And on that link, my team and I have prepared a handbook for you. And it's for you and your team to sit down and methodically begin to steer your way out of this. So we walk you step by step through these things so you can start to subdivide your bank accounts, set up the dashboards, and have that regular communication with what that's going to look like. Why? Is because we want you liberated. We don't want you stuck under this chaos. We want you liberated from cash flow chaos so you can make time for the things that matter most.